At the end? I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise for pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball. And tonight, our invocation will be given by, is it CJ? Oh, no, not CJ tonight. Dave Lanuti from the wonderful Hope Community, and I recognize Community
My
Church.
Hope Community Church, that's
And his-
right.
And you're a
Yeah.
neighbor?
Yeah, Holly Glenn.
I didn't recognize you without. Yeah,
The
last
robe
time
on?
we went trick or treating the year before last, and
Without a mask on.
Anyway, we're glad to have you.
Well, hey, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me, Mayor Sears and the council.
you.
Thanks for all you guys are doing, and it's good to see you guys, neighbors and citizens of Holly Springs. I just recently found out that, according to the mayor, I am his fourth favorite pastor in this town. He invited three others that
You gotta tell the
declined
truth here.
tonight before he invited me. But I am honored to be in your top
That's not
five.
quite the way
I am
it went.
honored, sir.
But I'll
Yeah.
never argue with the pastor. Yes, I will.
Well, hey, I do have the awesome privilege and responsibility to be a pastor at Hope Community Church, and we're just a few miles down the road there. And I know in even a room of this size, it's not exactly a packed house, but even with just the number that's here, there's folks from all different faiths and walks and beliefs, and we are glad that we can be here today to peacefully talk about this town that we love, this great place to live. And I certainly am not up here to offend any of you guys or say anything like that, but I do want to share one statement that I think would resonate with all of us here today, no matter what faith you are. And that's one of the last things that Jesus was recorded saying before he went on the cross was that they would be one, he said, that they would be one. And I think that should resonate with us. That, in other words, that there would be unity in a time when this town, this country, there's so much divisiveness and so much division going on. I think we need a little unity. And even the churches haven't quite gotten this right yet. And a lot of folks will point at the church and say, oh, I know what they're against. I know what they're against. And that kind of saddens me. So I hope we want you to know that we would rather be different. We would rather let you guys know exactly what we are for. And I'm here to tell you tonight that Hope Community Church and many other pastors of great churches that are like-minded in Holly Springs, we're for this town. We're for this community. We're for families. And even though Hope Community Church resides just on the wrong side of the border of Apex and Holly Springs, just by a few hundred yards, and even though they're supposedly the peak of good living,
We're right here.
we know, we all know, and I will deny this if anybody asks me later, but we all know that Holly Springs is the greatest place in America to live and to raise a family. And I think a lot of that is due to the hard work of this council and really just awesome citizens and business owners here in Holly Springs, just friendly people. So thank you so much for what you do to make this place awesome. My family loves it, and we just want to add value if we can at Hope Community Church. If we can help you, if we can come alongside you or your family or your organization or your school in any way, reach out to us, call us, or stop by. We're just down the road, a couple miles on the left. You can't miss it. I'd love to personally meet you. Thanks for making this town great. Would you guys bow your heads as I pray? Father, thank you so much for being a great Father to us. And God, we know your desire is that we would be one. And so, God, give us unity today. May we be united. May we have incredible wisdom. And I love that we can not just be neighbors and we cannot just be partners here today, but you've also, believe it or not, you have made it a way for all of us here to be brothers and sisters. And I wish I could tell that story, but maybe another time. So God, thank you for doing that. Give us unity, give us wisdom, and we will give you all the credit and honor and glory for this awesome town we get to live in. We pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, David. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Item number 5, public comment period. We have no one signed up, so we'll open and close the public comment period and go to Agenda item 6A, public hearing, annexation A1604.
Did you want to adopt the agenda?
Oh, we do want to adopt these. I got ahead of myself. I see all these people here and I got nervous. Adjustment approval of the March 21st meeting agenda. Mayor Pro Tem.
Motion to adopt the March 21st, 2017 meeting agenda with no changes.
All right.
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Now, we'll go to agenda item 6A, public hearing, annexation A1604, 5204 Old Adams Road property. Gina Clapp.
Well, good evening.
Good evening to you. Quality, not quantity.
I'm really here for quality because it's one slide again.
That much?
The application still remains incomplete, and so we are requesting a motion to continue, and we do have some conversations going with the applicant right now, and we should have final resolution for the next meeting.
All right.
I know I said that last time, but we
You
will
said that last
we will
time,
for the
right.
April 24th meet, or, excuse me, 21st meeting.
Is there a limit on that?
Or, excuse me, I'm on.
April 4th.
I know, I'm on April 21st, or April 4th meeting. Thank you.
April 4th meeting.
April 4th, we got it.
All right.
Any discussion or questions?
Nope.
I doubt it. Someone do the motion.
Motion to continue the public hearing to resume on April 4th, 2017.
Second?
Motion been made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Get this on.
You hit the easy button.
That's right. All right.
Agenda item 7A, consent agenda. Mayor Pro Tem.
Motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion been made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I got to go to something here.
Other business.
Item number 8 is other business. I'm trying to find it. I'll get there. Still got the consent agenda there.
Voting only 16%?
Who's got that in front of them?
There's nothing.
No wonder I couldn't find it. I've never seen us get to the other business this fast. I'm still looking for one more item. I have a little other business, and I think if Dave was still here, I wish he would, because he said a lot of things that I was going to say tonight. Bullying, for those who don't know, and I will say it one more time, is a big, big problem, not only here but elsewhere. Today, I had a young lady from high school, and her parents come in. She was thinking about quitting school because she's been cyberbullied, physically, mentally, the whole 9 yards. And this is not the first kid I've had in my office to talk about this. Time magazine recently came out with a article saying that bullying is not a problem. And somebody in town picked this up on the internet and sent me an email saying bullying's not a problem. Wrong answer. So I guess the point is, there's been adults recently who have either cyberbullied, shall we say, Facebook, and one case it was even in person at a soccer game against some of us. I guess seriously they have the right to do this, but at the same time, some of the words that I've heard, I don't even vote unless it's a tie, but some of the words I've heard on my honor has been 3-letter words. Starts with A and ends with S. I won't go any further. Council members may not vote always the same as you want them to vote. Their job is to represent the town as best they can. And that's not always a popular decision. And you and I have all heard it was a tough decision on our part. But that doesn't mean you can threaten people or get angry at them personally. That's sick. They're voting their consciousness, and they're all voting in the way they think is best. Every person on this board here, because they want to do what they think is best for the town of Holly Springs, is what they do. Usually when the room is filled with somebody who's against the program, that's fine. That's fine. And we listen. Example, I'm paraphrasing my speech here. Sorry about that. This board turned down the Wood property. Right, wrong, or different. The same board approved the Honeycutt property. Now, how can someone go into a person or persons on this board and said, we hate you, you're a jerk, you're whatever? It's the same board, and they're doing it because they were doing it because they thought it was the best for the town. So I take exception to that. Let's just try to be a little kinder. This is why I wish Dave was still here. Let's be a little kinder to each other. Stop the name calling. Stop the name calling. Stop the cyberbullying. And stop things like happened on the soccer field not too long ago when someone was pointed out to be a jerk, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Fair enough? That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Last comment, crosswalk safety, we're still working on it. We're not there yet. This morning, you know this. This morning, I saw a car stop on one side, went through on the other, and I happened to be one of the cars that stopped. And I gave the lady a sign. Well, never mind. So anyway, we're not there yet. Who else? I'm done with my speech.
I'd like to share that, I guess this past weekend, the town had a win, an unexpected win in terms of, we had Division I baseball here in Holly Springs. And I don't think it was planned out well in advance. I think it was the weather in the Northeast caused two teams to have to take refuge here in Holly Springs. And they played their, I think it was like 3 games over the course of a weekend. It was George Mason University and Canisius College from New York, and George Mason's from Virginia, I believe. And they played their series here. So we had free Division I baseball here in Holly Springs, and I was out for a run, and actually when I ran by the stadium, one of the foul balls came and bounced, and I
Did you get it?
right near me. Yeah, well, I didn't catch it on the fly, but I caught it on the bounce.
First bounce.
But when it bounced a couple of times, I had to chase it down.
All right.
But I brought it into the stadium just to give it back. I had no use for it, and while waiting to bring the ball to give it to one of the players, I heard some of the parents from George Mason. I overheard them saying tons of compliments about our facility here in Holly Springs. They were like, this is wonderful. I mean, they were just carrying on about how great it was. So gave me the opportunity to go up and talk to them about it. And I introduced myself and so forth. And I mean, they were gushing with how wonderful they thought the facility was. So we really made a mark on, and I talked with some people from New York as well. And we really made a good mark on those fans for those 2 colleges. So hopefully they'll see the opportunity. They'll be back.
It might even move here.
Was that the weekend before last?
Just this past weekend.
Past week.
Yep.
Sherry?
I did want to congratulate the high school Cola Voce choir. Voce? Yep. They went to Nashville in a competition and just blew them away.
They're so
Grand
good.
champions.
So good.
They actually got to write a song with a country singer. And so I'd like to invite them, and I reached out to Ms. Patchett to come and sing again before the seniors leave this year, and so we can recognize them winning this grand championship.
Love to have them come.
All right, I'll have her get in touch. We'll get in touch.
Will they
with
come for one of our meetings?
her. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
That'd be good. I'd like that. Anything else? Tom, got anything?
No, good. I'm good.
Anybody in the audience want to say anything? At this time, the manager's report.
We have a light calendar this month, but Lend EDU, which is a website, did a ranking study of the 250 best places in the United States to build wealth. And we came in 154th, which I know we're used to being first or second in a lot of these, but it's still worth mentioning. There were 4 weighted criteria that were used. One was median earnings from income, monthly cost of owning a home, median home value, and then finally tax rate. And when those 4 variables were weighted, we came in at 154. So it's worth noting.
Not bad.
Yes. Absolutely. I think it just speaks to the fact that Holly Springs is a good place to live and a good place to invest and start a family and build wealth. So positive message, very positive message. I'd like to echo the mayor's comments earlier too about maintaining a level of civility. I didn't have any comments planned per se, but I mean, we've actually noticed a difference in tone even at staff level. I get more complaints or not complaints, but more comments registered, for example, from our finance department, of people coming in with a really negative attitude, making threatening remarks, just totally uncalled for. It's unnecessary, and I've been in this business for about 30 years, and I feel like as council members, sometimes you have to make difficult decisions that are definitely not going to make everyone happy. They're difficult decisions, but I feel like that you make decisions based on the information that you have, and you feel like you're making decisions in the long-term best interest of the community. And sometimes when those don't square with everyone in the room, it seems like and it's a very small number.
It is.
But there are a very small number of people that want to resort to intimidation and to very negative comments, and personally, I think it's disgraceful. So I'm coming off a little stronger maybe, but I'm hearing it, from some of the council members, and I realize the commitment and the sacrifice that you make on a weekly and a daily basis, even in weekends and so forth, because I've had conversations with a number of you, and I know how committed you are to this town, and I think it's unfair. And then when I have to hear it from our staff, it really concerns me and it bothers me. As a matter of fact, we have a meeting, I think, scheduled later this week to discuss some staff security concerns, just because of some of the tone. So
That's sad.
it is sad,
It is.
and we'll be coming forward with some recommendations to try to address that. Thank you.
Totally agree, and let me just add, I was going to say this before, but I went to the Marvin Gaye show Saturday, which was incredible, just incredible. And I thought that the name of the show was exactly what we just were talking about. What's going on? What's going on? 16 years I've been mayor, I've never seen this degree of people calling other people names. I hate it. It's wrong, but I know it. I've been called names. They've been called names. It's not a good thing. And I talked to the mayors last night, and I asked them what they did. One of them said, well, once in a while we have the same problem. I said, well, what do you do about it? I talk about it to town board meetings. I said, okay, that's a good idea, so that's what we're doing tonight. So please, please, please listen. It's a true problem. Just like bullying, it's not something that's gone or going away. It's there. So help us with that if you can. Counselor.
I've never been called a name. But I would like to discuss,
Not that you know of,
We can
right?
start in closed session.
Would you like one?
None that you know of.
Would you like one?
sure, you could pile them on. This is probably a good meeting to discuss some pending litigation matters with you in executive session, particularly the Fred Smith versus Town of Holly Springs matter, and the potential litigation regarding Downton Square. So if somebody would like to make a motion pursuant to North Carolina General Statute.
Before we do that, Mr. Schifano,
Yes,
can you
yes.
explain, because someone brought this up, can you explain why we go into closed session or what things we go into closed session for?
Sure. North Carolina has a limited number of exceptions to the open meetings law, and one of the exception is to consult with an attorney regarding active or potential litigation. I have all this wonderful knowledge that I don't want the rest of the world to know, and I only want my client to know this knowledge. Therefore, we go into closed session. The clerk is there and records a general account of closed session as to what we talk about, and once the purpose has been resolved, the reason why we went into closed session, if it was to talk about settlement of a lawsuit, then that's then reported back and put into the minutes
Okay.
and becomes an official action. You do not take any official action in your executive session. You're not allowed really to vote and discuss matters of public policy or general concern. Hey, this is what we want the town to be in 10 years, those types of things, or, let's spend $1 million next year on X, Y, or Z. You're not allowed to talk about those. And it's my job to keep you on task, really, and just discuss the limited things that you are allowed to discuss in closed session. And in this particular matter, this evening, we're talking about two civil lawsuits and the strategies for a good resolution of those issues. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
And some of the other ones are like personnel
Personnel
matters
issues.
and possible economic development related.
That's correct.
issues.
There, some of the other exceptions are, and frankly, personnel issues, really, you have 3 people to hire and fire in the town, and that's the manager, myself, and the clerk. Most personnel issues are dealt with by the manager, the professional manager. And then, but there are even some other exceptions to, discuss personnel that if there's a personnel issue where the general citizenry would lose faith in our system, like the police chief, you can go in and talk about something, those very important positions, even though you don't hire and fire the police chief, the manager does. There is the exception to talk about personnel issues as it relates to that. If there's something that will cause great concern. I didn't mean to pick on the police chief. That was just an example. Fire chief,
Fire chief.
public works director.
Yeah, look at you,
Any other town engineer, town director of engineering, any other person. If the general citizenry is at risk of losing faith in the town based on something that they do, that you can go into closed session and talk about that. Conferring an honorary degree, which to my knowledge we haven't done yet. If you want to confer some honorary degrees, let me know. We can go into executive session and talk about that. And economic development is really, they're really tightening the reins on that. You can't just go in and talk about general economic development policies, but if you're looking to buy 167 acres of the business park and give it to Novartis, then you can go and talk about that. You can also talk about, in closed session, set parameters for staff and negotiating real estate. We're not going to say, hey, we're going to go acquire an acre and we're going to spend $100,000 to do it. That sort of defeats the purpose of it really does not help with negotiation strategy when you're allowed to do that. But then again, once that real estate transaction is consummated, it's reported back in the general account into the minutes of the town council. So, we pride ourselves on our transparency in Holly Springs. So if anybody has any questions or concerns about what happens, that's we're here to answer them, and you all are very approachable and
questions.
answer them as well.
Thank you,
Thank
John.
you.
You ready for a general statute site now?
Yes, I am.
On General Statute 143-318.11A3 to consult with an attorney.
That was last week.
All right. Then I'll make the motion, we'll go into closed session.
Second?
Before we do that, just one thing. I want to remind everybody that there's not a person up here that doesn't have an open door. I know that I do, and I know they do. So if you know somebody, I'm talking to the camera too, if you know somebody who has a real problem, whether it's a good one or a bad one, or maybe a mistake or maybe a misunderstanding, have them call. I don't mind people coming in and yelling. It can happen, or they can come in and at least talk about it. So, motion been made, second, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all for coming.
Hey, Christine.